You're trying to pick up all the pieces to grab what's left of it, retain this identity of who you once was because of this experience. But then let's say something happens and you prick yourself. You're like, oh my God, see, look, now there it goes again. Oh my God, I'm triggered.
Welcome, everybody, to the Rally Cry podcast. My name is Angel.
My name is Tyler.
And, hey, I don't even know what to say right now because I am just grateful to be here right now, and I am grateful for everyone that is watching right now, listening, and you can see if you are watching or listening, if it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Cast, Castbox. I got it.
All right.
It took me a while for that, but we sound a little crispy right now. And it just looks cool that, I'm wearing some headphones and, it looks a little professional right now.
The chain on and everything like that.
You got the little necklace.
Got the gem with it.
We got the flannels. I like this. It's a little thick.
Looking casual. And it's pretty,
man.
Pretty toasty and cozy in here. Like, what I'm saying?
With it being cozy, we already know Thanksgiving is around the corner. Christmas around the corner. And I'm not talking about like the bodega corner. But we know we can see it at a distance, something like that.
Yeah, like a little bit more halfway through. Halfway through. Like you almost at the corner, but like... You need like about 30 more steps at the corner.
What about 31?
It's an odd number for you to choose. See what I did there?
It's an odd number to choose. Yeah, so I mean, what? I mean, it's whatever. But
oh my God.
More to the point, I think, around this time, it's not really winter. Well, is it winter? Nah. It feels like winter, but I think we still in fall.
Okay.
I think we still in fall.
Okay, the weather just dropped to around approaching winter levels, but... I'd even still think that December is still kind of a part of like cold fall. I think January is when winter kicks in fully.
Yeah, I honestly forgot when does winter actually start. If you guys know when it starts, let us know. Because
everybody got their opinion.
Yeah, but regardless, if we're in fall, I think we still are. We already know there's some trees that are still trying to let go of their branches, right? And that just gives us the opportunity to talk about letting go of negativity and stress. Because that's like the number one thing that people can't do. Like most people can't do. Like it's even hard for me sometimes to like let go of certain things. Like, you know how bad like I had a bag of chips and I was like, damn, there's no more. And I was still holding that empty bag while I'm licking my fingers like.
So what you gonna do with that bag?
I threw it out. Because I had to let go and say like, hey, that's all there was.
Interesting.
That's all there was. Like I can't really do nothing about it. Like it served me. Okay. It definitely favored for me, and it got rid of my hunger.
Flavored, you mean?
Yes. Flavored. But I honestly think that things sound funnier with the mics, so that's why it's funny.
Okay. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, can you kind of hear the...
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like there's no point of like continuing on something that is no longer serving you, especially if it's detrimental to you. Like you just gotta accept for the fact that's all there was. It did its part in that time, and it's just no longer doing it. Things change nowadays, and like it's okay for change, but only change for the better, not for the worse. And I just really want to get into that because I think that is one of the challenges that we all have. Like I have it myself, and I'm sure Tyler that happens to you. And I know there's something that you've mentioned before, just like on our own time when we were just chilling about like the identity of the reason why people can't let go. So like, I kind of just want like a good refresher to what you meant by that.
So what I meant by like, see, the thing is a lot of the times, everything in life, we base it off of familiarity along with identity. And a lot of the times when it comes to, let's say, holding a grudge, like, yes, you can hold on to that experience, but then it's the identity of who you become afterwards. And if you can let that go because of that pain, you don't want to move through trauma. Now, stress, trauma are great for us because it allows us to grow and adapt. But at the same time, though, are you willing to? Are you going to put in the work to adapt after that? Because nobody wants to keep feeling that exact pain. But even so, is like, what are you going to do to get out of it? Because so much time can go by when you're going through something. And when you're traumatized, it's like, as I said before, let's say something breaks and you're trying to pick up all the pieces to grab what's left of it, retain this identity of who you once was because of this experience. But then let's say something happens and you prick yourself. You're like, oh my God, see, look, now there it goes again. Oh my God, I'm triggered. And all these things, and not offending anybody that does get triggered to an extent. But it's the idea of like, you're just going to then focus on what got you here in the first place.
Right.
It's going to be a fresh reminder, and then you're not going to want to let go because, see, if this didn't happen, I wouldn't be like this. And it's like, okay, so you're saying this, but then it's like, so what are you going to do about it? Because right now it's like you're aware of the problem, and I can see you being aware of the problem worked, but are you doing something that's working? Are you going to start working towards getting out of that grudge, out of that identity?
Not in.
I'm about to rev up the lawnmower.
Because that was really on some real stuff. And I agree. And like when you was talking about pricking, I was just thinking about like a flower or a rose, right?
Yes,
and most of the times it's pretty and you want to grab it. And then once it pricks you, it's like, oh, damn, I'm not going to touch it again. So it's so easy for you to let go because there's no connection to it. You didn't grab it. It wasn't a connection with you. Was you able to grab it? And since there's no connection so that you could let go, you just touched it. And what happens is that I think when people are so involved with the identity of what someone had with them, like as far as like who they were now that they are with them, is more of the fact that like they had a connection with them. Because let's say if they were already hurt, like picking a flower, and they were hurt like right then and there, and they got told like to back off or whatever, they wouldn't really think about the identity that they are lacking or what they now have and to who they were before and after. It wouldn't matter because they already got told like, hey, no, don't touch me. Basically, like that's what the flower's basically telling them.
And it's kind of like a templated stigma of like just how you're gonna view everything. So now like you can't genuinely look, observe, analyze, respect, or acknowledge somebody or something because your idea, your negativity bias is twisted and naturally set to just be reminded of of something that made you feel bad before. Now you're just gonna have this bad approach to everything.
Right.
And you're not going to, because think about it. Imagine trying to enjoy Christmas when a couple Christmases ago, being in a relationship with somebody or somebody that was close to you, a friend or maybe even a family member, they had upset you so bad, like it ruined that Christmas. But now every time you have that Christmas comes around, there's annual depression. There's things of that nature that, you can just be reminded of a said experience. But it's like, how much longer are you going to continue letting it affect you? Like, because if like we could say that we let go of certain things, but it's like, can we really say we let go of something if we could still be emotionally bothered by it?
Yeah, I agree. I think like the only way you let go of something is like if you can know that, okay, am I healing? As in far like, let's say for example, yesterday, am I better from yesterday? Like that's how you know you're healing. Like based on my last experience and where I'm at now. Is there a difference? Like, am I better now than from a year ago? And that's how I know I'm healing. And if I can acknowledge to what was bothering me or what hurt me and acknowledge it and be aware of it, that is something you want to take into consideration, but not to hold it onto you and like hold it as a grudge. Because when you hold on to grudges, it's only going to hurt you and you're not letting it go. Sometimes holding onto something hurts more than actually letting it go. You know what I mean? Bro, why you want to do that to me?
Boy,
oh,
all right, Popeye.
So I just think that I completely agree, and that's where when we see that we get hurt, okay, you got hurt, and that's really unfortunate. But more importantly, for yourself, do you want to keep holding that grudge? Do you want to keep feeling hurt? Do you like that feeling that you're having with whatever that ties to it? If it's an object, if it's family, if it's someone you love, it don't really matter to what it is, but what is important is it keeps hurting you. So why don't you let it go for what it is?
And I'll make this analogy too. It's like, we're trying to fall asleep. That pillow that you're laying on, that side is no longer cold. So are you going to continue laying down on a warm pillow? Or are you going to flip that pillow over and get that cool side and just refresh your face and be like, this is going to do it for me? You know what I mean? Cause
that's a good analogy.
Yes. Think about it. Naturally, like we continue to flip the pillow over just to get that cool side and be like, you know what, this pillow's making out with me right now. So like, let me make out with it back. I'm about to smother my face. Or you could keep.
Sorry.
All right. Or you can keep smothering your face into a warm pillow, and then like your neck starts sweating, then your hair starts sticking. It's like,
No, I agree. I honestly agree. Like, you just gotta forgive that, you know, whatever it is that was no longer serving you, it doesn't serve you, and you know they hurt you at the meantime. So it's just like you gotta forgive, and forgiving is literally not for the other person. You're not forgiving because you're Oh, I forgive you for what you did to did to me. Forgiveness is for yourself. To let go of everything that is holding you back so that you can move on into something that is more positive for you. Forgiveness is for you. I'll say that one more time. Forgiveness is for you. And it's good to acknowledge they hurt you, but those who anger you conquer you. And if you have your thoughts to be shut down, then you're only going along with your feelings and having them be a guidance system to make your actions, to dictate to what is right. But your feelings isn't always right.
Yep.
They should be validated. They should be looked at. They should be a sense of awareness, but not to actually make your actions, not to make what is it called? What's that word? I'm losing it. Where'd it go? Oh, I'm trying to find it. But you get my point. It's just like you can't let your feelings dictate to what reality is necessarily. But to like make these actions more that's just what it is. Like, you just want to clearly think about it. First you feel it, think about it, and taste your words first before you even say anything.
That reminds me of something you said before. It's like
what?
You spot. Wait.
Spot. Oh yeah, you gotta spot it, stop it, and then swap it for something more positive. Simple. We talked about that before.
Yes, we definitely did. What episode though?
Yes, we could talk a little bit more about that. But
great episode. If you want to see, if you want to see Angel suffer from tongue twisters, then just go check that episode out.
Hey, why you gotta?
Oh, matter of fact, okay, I'm making a connection. I gotta think about it, but you were definitely wearing a yellow shirt in that episode, I believe.
All right, that's a tip for everyone that wants to see me embarrass myself. But that is one of the ways of letting go. As far as letting go of grudges, we want to get at least into 5. Just because, you know, 5-finger discount. Oh, lick your fingers. You want to taste every finger. By the way, tastes like chicken. Now, damn.
Oh, nah, boy. I got steak over here.
Well, as far as forgiveness, I just want to give a quick tip before we go to the next one. Ways of, like, forgiving is, like, expressing yourself, being more optimistic, and then see yourself in their shoes, and then after that, protect yourself. Like, be, like you can't just forgive and let go of something and then put yourself in the same situation again. Yeah. So then, shame on you. Yeah,
and honestly, like, it's definitely, like, you want to be gentle with yourself because you have to not only just be able to talk about it with yourself, but if there is somebody that makes you feel this way as well, don't shelter it. Don't hold it in. You're not a bottle pop. Don't close yourself off.
Don't bottle up.
Like, exactly. So definitely, you know, take the time to, like, properly, like, address it. Like, hey, like, I would like to talk to you about something that I take seriously, and I just want to know that I have your full attention while expressing this.
Right.
Just do that, and going from there, you know with yourself at least that you did what you had to do when it comes to expressing yourself. And if that person can't respect you or give that full attention that you deserve, because this is something serious, this is you as a person, and everybody deserves to be respected. So if they can't give that to you, that tells you what you should do moving on forward.
Just look again. Simple. And I just want to give a quick fact of where we get some research. So according to Forbes, a new survey by Trustpilot's Helping Hands polled 2,000 adults and found that 69 of respondents have a lingering gripe of some sort, whether it's not getting a desired job, being dumped, or bad customer service experience. We already know, as far as like an example, customer experience and how people just don't know how to let go of the fact that they can't return what they brung in. Like, bro, this is just our policy. I didn't make the rules. I'm just following them.
I can't control if your coupon don't work.
Bruh, it expired.
Please take this up with my manager. I'm only at the register.
Move on. Shit. My bad for cursing, but I'm just saying.
How dare you?
How dare you? So, number 2 is create your peace with being neat. Create your space.
I like that.
You know, posters, whatever you got to do. If you live by yourself, you got a room, you can always make your space. Have some fragrance, nice furniture you like. Hey, put a post of your favorite artist. Weekend, you. Big Sean. But as simple as that is, just create your own space. And, like, we already know that a lot of times, like, if your space is, like, all disorganized, you're going to be like, oh, messy house, messy life, necessarily.
Yeah, and a messy, cluttered mind. And a lot of times, you know, if somebody's room is cluttered and everything like that, they're not putting in the time to clear their mind because at the same time, bars, you want to be able to like, all right, so obviously making your bed is the first thing you should do.
First thing you got to do. That's like, the first task.
You get up, you know that you're not going to be coming back to bed after work or whatever you do in your day to be productive. You know you're not going to come back. You want to come back to a nice, well-done bed because it's like, damn, my bed is looking good right now. I might as well just lay down. So it's like, why not? So being able to clean your room, and then it's like you're able to find more ways to create your identity, and your room is a self-expression of yourself. So the more love and tender, more TLC that you give to your room is like, you know, the more TLC that you're giving to your mind, the more TLC that you're giving to yourself, investing time to like do things that are productive, hobbies, sports, yoga, going out to events where you meet people just to like get out, you know, because if you were going through something, and it's more likely that you would want to be in solitude because it's just like,
right.
Oh, I don't feel like going anywhere. You know what? I'll wait for another time. Like, exactly. But then if I don't want to say force, but if you motivate yourself to at least just show up to wherever it is that you want to go, like even go for a walk.
Just try.
Enjoy nature. Enjoy whatever's in your view. Try to see how much you can spot today. Then challenge yourself by going out again tomorrow, doing the same thing, go for a walk, and try to see what else you can spot that you didn't spot before. Like
we were just saying, just be optimistic.
Mm-hmm. You want to swap that negativity out. Switch it. Try to appreciate it. Yeah. And for example, it was like when we went to the Weeknd concert this past summer, it was like the traffic was crazy, and we're like,
I was losing it low key.
Yeah, like, and we're ruminating, like we're practically ruminating, like, oh man, we're gonna miss out some of the show, and like we spent money for this, and look, here we are late, kind of overslept on the nap after driving so long.
I was low key getting a little upset because I was driving, and shout outs to Tyler, like he was like, we ain't gonna let anything happen right now. I was like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah, because it's just like we're here for a reason, and we get to have this opportunity because, you know, God granted us this opportunity.
Yes.
Life did as well. So it's like, you know, we'll take it for what it is, and whatever we are fortunate to experience, we're gonna take it with every grain of salt that we can.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like, who will want a messy place? Like, if mess didn't matter, then if we get into hotels, then we'll have messes sometime here and there. Mm-hmm. But it's always clean. Why? Because it's inviting.
Yes.
And it feels like, I think they do it on commercials when you use fresh smell and stuff like that, and it's clean. You want to feel clean. You know what I mean?
I just thought of something because I like how you said it's a breath of fresh air because you just walk into the room or whatever. But then if you come into a messy room, you're like,
yeah.
So it's like literally the polar opposite. It's literally the polar opposite.
Yeah.
You have a grunt, exhale. It's like, like you just.
Damn, do I gotta clean this right now?
Yeah. Okay, Daria.
With that being said, though, it's kind of like very self-explanatory. But I definitely want to say, at least as far as research from Zegner News announces a new survey of 2,000 American homeowners found that 78, more than half,
really,
78% believe there is a direct link between their tidiness and well-being, with 70% agreeing to outdoor clutter as well. That's more than half.
You see that? I'm stamped in.
There's billions of people, and that's within 2,000 people. So that's just only 2,000 people. I can pretty sure agree for myself, and I'm sure anyone that's listening. Like, what do you think? Like, would you want to have a messy house? Absolutely not. I mean, come on. When company comes over, you're not gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna leave my house the way it is. You're gonna clean it up, at least tighten it up a little bit, because you're gonna feel like you look. Not only that it looks bad, but you want to feel inviting. It's not inviting. So it's like, if it's inviting for other people, it's inviting for yourself. Like, treat yourself as a guest too. You got to treat yourself. Don't think of everyone else like you got to cater to other people. You got to cater to yourself first. You come first. If you can't do for yourself first, then why would you care for doing for others? That's just simple as that.
It's simple. Like, so self-love does so much along with your self-esteem, and it does great things, and it just completes your life overall. It's all around, full circle.
Yeah, I agree. And that goes on to number 3. Yeah, I know Spanish. I'm not that fluent, but I know Spanish. Yo entiendo un poco. So,
3 leches.
That's all you got? 3 leches. I know you understand too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Your grandma be talking Spanish. You be understanding.
You know, like her Spanish is a lot more fluently than other people, so I can understand her perfect. But other people, is like, I have to let it resonate a little bit.
I get you. It's cool. I have my moments too.
But I need to know number 3 though.
3? I was just gonna get there. I got you right now.
Bad,
Cut out negative attitudes on others and yourself. Because the thing is about how people treat you is how they look at themselves. Simple. And when you're being negative, and it's literally about how you want to choose at looking at life. Life is literally how you make it.
Yes.
And so if you're going to keep looking at it as like, oh, life sucks or life is this and bad, and you keep telling yourself that. And for people that believe in God, or even if you don't believe in God, look at it as just the way the universe works. Like, whatever you throw out there is going to give it right back to you. The same thing, like, if you, whatever comes around goes around. So it's just like, if I say, oh, I suck at basketball, yeah, you suck at basketball, bro.
All right, so sorry, 2 Chainz. What comes around goes around like a hula hoop. All right, sorry.
The fact that you gotta sway yourself like that, like,
I forgot what song it was, but it's early 2 Chainz, man. Oh man,
if you guys know what song is that, just let us know what it is, and help Tyler out for his memory.
Is it Oh My with Fabulous?
Oh me, oh my. I know about you, but you smell like dirty. What?
Pie? Mud pie?
It.
Okay.
And also just be easy on yourself. Like, it's very easy to be negative, and it's hard to be positive, especially if you're in a negative situation. We already know that negative is more empowering than positive. Like, negative people bring down positive people, but it's hard for a positive person to bring up a negative person, because sometimes people stay stuck in their ways, and it's okay. Like, it's fine if you are stuck in your ways. Sometimes people have a certain duration of getting out of it, but just, you have to start somewhere about cutting off those negative attitude. Like, change your attitude. Like, even if you're faking it, sometimes you gotta fake it a little bit to make it. Like, just a little bit. Just it helps a little bit. It's just like a little push. Like, you might be having a bad day, but just put a smile. Like, sometimes, like, if you're having a bad day, do something that will make someone else's day, and maybe it will make your day.
When you put it like that, I definitely agree. Like, create a distraction. At least go along with the day, because like at that point, like, if you're just bringing the negative energy everywhere, then it's like you're not even going to be able to, like, just fully take in what is in front of you, who is in front of you, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I think that when it comes to at least being able to express this kind of negativity and just like try to change it into something, you want to allow the negative emotions to flow. You don't want it to stay stuck at one certain point, and then it's just like this blotch in your chest. Like, it's like, when you're trying to burp, but it's like in your chest, or you got like just heartburn or whatever the case may be. It's just stuck in one area. Yeah, like, you don't want it to stay stuck at all. You just want to let it flow, and like we all, damn,
you heard that?
Like, yeah,
I was cracking my neck. It was like clock, clock, clock.
All right, soda bottle. But like, you want to be able to actually let it, because when you shoot a ball, like, shoot a basketball, when you throw a football, when you are writing something, you're not gonna just stay on the paper the entire time. There has to be some kind of form of release. There has to be some kind of form of release. So I definitely agree with that. You know what I mean? Like,
I like how you bring that up.
Like,
that's so crazy.
It's like,
I appreciate you for that.
It's like how you said earlier, like, you don't want to clench onto it. So it's like, there has to be some kind of form of release. And if you're constantly, you want to be the best at what you do, but nobody's the best holder. Like, who do you know that's the best holder? Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
There's championship for it, because I think some people might need a couple awards.
Exactly.
Holding my pencil be hurting. I'd be like, oh, I gotta let go real quick.
Yeah, writer's cramp or whatever. But there's people that, like, that got great release techniques. They have a great form of release when it comes to stress. They have a great form of release when it comes to, finishing a note. But with finishing, you're releasing. You're still in the act of that.
You're right, though.
So that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's true. And like, with that being said, like, just, you gotta start somewhere that might help you. Everybody's different, and everybody has their way of doing it. But talk to yourself kind of like, tell yourself, like, give yourself some affirmations, like, I am loving, I am caring, I am patient, I have some tolerance. So just be honest with yourself about what you know for yourself. Like, what can you tell yourself that you know about yourself? Do you know yourself?
I like that.
Look in the mirror and be like,
I like that.
Look in the mirror while you do it too. Like, don't just tell yourself it. If you can look in the mirror right now, just do it right now. Like, as I'm saying this, like, I am loving, I am caring, I am loved. Anything that correlates to that. Like, there's a whole bunch of things you can say for yourself. I am energized. I am focused. There's so many things that you can say for yourself. For me to think on the top of my head right now, I only mentioned a couple, but there's just so much more that can resonate with you.
And there's so much that you can say that, like, that resonates with you, that you can even say something like, appreciate yourself by, because, like, all right, so if you're ruminating, which that's another episode. Yeah. But you're ruminating and, like, you're just kind of stuck in this negative bubble. Like, remind yourself of who you are.
Right.
Because if before this sad situation that got you like this, if you know that you're attractive, don't think that you're unattractive just because your mindset is, like, in a flunk right now.
Right.
So, like, you know what? I am attractive. If there's one thing for sure, I love my skin tone. And like it sounds egotistical. It sounds like I'm self-centered, and it sounds like I'm just selfish for myself to an extent. But say uplifting things. So like saying I am loving, I am worthy of being loved. I am capable of being excited. I am capable of enjoying this day. Like things in that moment. So if you want to set the tone for that day or at night, one thing that Angel does all the time. And hey, bro, tomorrow's gonna be a great day. We're gonna have a great time. Yeah. Regardless of how today went, great regardless because we got to experience it. And that goes for tomorrow because it's another experience that we get to enjoy because we get to do it. And, like, him doing that, now I only reciprocate it. So from time to time, like, I say it myself before he can even say it. And it's just, like, it really does work. And just being able to have that as a reflection of being able to mirror each other, but then also how good positive affirmations are. Because I could say for myself before, I would only say positive affirmations when I'm in the stump, when I'm going through it, or like when my day's kind of like, whatever. Yeah. But if I start and end my day with saying positive affirmations, regardless, it does something. So that way, when things happen to go in the gutter, whether it's momentarily or gradually, we can pull ourselves out. We can be that what's it called? That string that's pulling us out.
Yeah, I agree. And like with that being said, like. Affirmations is not like magic where you say something and like it just happens. It's gonna be a great day. Oh yeah, it was fantastic. It was a great day. It doesn't really necessarily work like that, but just being more positive about it because there's times where it's gonna be a great day and things happen for the way we didn't think it was gonna happen. But it's just so that when you tell yourself affirmations, you don't have expectations to what's gonna happen either. Because when you give yourself expectations to anything, if it's to someone, if it's to yourself, that only leads to depression. Yes. You depress yourself because you now put yourself in a position where you depress yourself. Depress. You know what I mean? So it's like compress, like come together. Depress, separate yourself. Psychology.
So as soon as you said depress, I thought about compress because you're still being squished.
I just want to say that again. Like compress is like when it's like compressing together. That's togetherness. And decompress is basically the opposite of that. So it's like separating yourself. So you're separating yourself from where you initially not who you are because we are all happy people. You know what I mean? But we're not mad people. We're not sad people. We're just not. We have happiness in us. It's just that how can we obtain it though? And when we could obtain it, we could then figure out what it is that we can do to do that. And it's just about managing it and figuring it out. And everything can be worse as well. Like everything is temporary. And if you also understand that if you lead yourself to depression, a lot of times let's say you don't get depressed, what happens is that you then could get mad. And what happens is that when people get mad, that's a form of relief of being sad. So there's like a relief system of the book that I was reading, Ask and It Is Given. Great book, by the way. I suggest it for anyone. Literally changed my perspective.
Who's that book by?
I forgot at the top of my head because it's been a while and I've been reading other books. But Ask and It Is Given, you can put that on Google and it'll come right up. Along with 2 other books that he has, is Law of Attraction. And there's another one that I haven't got into. I think Tyler's gonna search it up for you guys just in case. But that's a great book, and it just talks about like every emotion has a relief from something, and at least from you being sad, that's the lowest tier, and then after that, a relief from being sad is being mad, and then it just continue on after that.
Mr. and Mrs. Hicks, Esther Hicks, and Jerry.
I love them, and the fact that they're a couple.
Yeah,
that's even more amazing. Like the fact that they wrote that together.
Yeah, and you want to know why they wrote that together? Because they're both looking in the same direction.
That's a love. That's so beautiful. Imagine a cry like that. I mean, hey, I'm not trying to judge, but that sounds kind of funny a little bit. But like, not to make fun, but
it's just
And don't forget. I said just forget. Yeah, just forget that if anything, if someone's hurting you, let it go.
No. Just forget that happened, and we're just gonna keep on moving.
To cut off attitudes, some people say that they want to talk to somebody, and like if you're a person that doesn't like talking to somebody, then maybe you might want to write it down on paper. It helps me personally if I'm feeling some type of way or anything, and I just want to express myself and let go of some attitudes that I'm having, if it's being sad, mad, or whatever it is that I'm feeling, I'll write it down. And sometimes, hey, you never know, you can actually write out something that sounds pretty good. If I do poetry here and there, me and Tyler do, just because it's fun. And with that being said, it's not only that it's fun, but it expresses ourselves, and who knows, that it might be something that someone else might need to hear if we're gonna go on stage and do it, which we've done plenty of times. If you're in the Springfield area in Massachusetts, we've went to Dewey's where we've done that.
Dewey's Jazz Lounge.
Yeah, shout out to them. They're great spot, especially the owner. He's awesome, and it's just a great spot. Honestly, I love the Jazz Lounge. It's awesome.
And the host, Lyrical Faith, she's an amazing host, and she knows how to rep, the New York Bronx, you know,
You already
hometown,
know.
you know.
Let's go.
Yeah, so like,
yeah, no, shout out to her because every time we go there, she be like, you know, from my hometown, they're from New York too. It's like a whole introductory. I feel like I'm a famous guy. I'm coming on a talk show. The crowd goes wild.
And look at that. Based off of that familiarity, like if we had any kind of anxiousness prior to that, it would all evaporate just because of the fact that the familiarity that we have the moment we step foot in that establishment, and just knowing that. Not even just somebody knowing us, but just somebody respecting us enough to like know these minute details about us.
Look again.
And exactly. So that it goes hand in hand. It's just the respect that we have for other people. So like that can be very uplifting for somebody who's just having a bad day or even if they're depressed, just even showing up to an event like that is like everybody says hi to each other. Everybody happens to conversate. So Dewey's Jazz Lounge is a great place to like if you want to interact with and meet new people.
Yeah, definitely agree. And I just think that with like talking about letting go of attitudes, I got a study here as well. I got another one for you guys. A study from 2013. It might be a little back, but it doesn't say that it's not true, regardless if it's so long ago. So in 2013, it found that 76 of adults who spent 20 minutes writing about their thoughts and feelings for 3 consecutive days, 2 weeks before a medically necessary biopsy, they were fully healed 11 days later. Meanwhile, 58% of the controlled group, people that, you know, took a biopsy and then took medications, they have not even recovered. So just writing down your emotions down can actually make you feel good. And honestly, I'm going to say again, personally, it does help a little bit. Like, it's just like like sometimes, like when you talk to somebody, it doesn't always work because you might not feel like you're being heard. And sometimes a book and a pencil will hear you more than anyone else would. That's how I look at it.
And I could say this to chime in, like not for nothing, me personally, suffering from migraines, I personally don't think that trying to be medication dependent is the way at all because I'm not going to be insensitive to the idea, but there is such a thing as called the placebo effect, and just basically to make you believe that this works.
Right.
Like, and to make you think that it works is something that is where you get dependent on it. So as Angel was saying, you know, writing pen or pencil, notebook, paper, tree paper, car paper, don't matter what it is. But overall, doing that is at least progressively effective rather than being dependent on a medication because, like, you don't know what's being put into your body. You're being told what this pill does, but they would probably tell you the most minor side effects. But they're not going to tell you the full set of side effects. So unless you do that research yourself, you don't know what you're putting in your system, and your body's going to try to reject it, which is why you experience those side effects. Like your body's telling you, like, hey, like I don't like this, I don't need this. You know, there has to be another way. Right. But to try to be lacking of wanting to find that answer yourself, because if anything, you're putting it into somebody else's hands, and that's just kind of just trying to explain like what the placebo effect does. So ending up being dependent on medications, that's kind of like basically what it is. It ends up never working. You end up moving on to another medication and things of that nature. So like overall, heal yourself. I mean, there's even people that survived cancer but went a completely different route rather than doing the chemotherapy. And I'm not taking anything away from people that have suffered from cancer at all, because that is an unfortunate, you know, traumatic sickness that people have gone through. Yeah. But for the people that have survived, we got to think about what path that they took differently. Because, I mean, there's technically no cure for cancer, but we all know that's fake. But overall, that's a whole other topic. Oh, yeah, the government. Yeah.
With that being one thing, I completely agree. And
do I hear it? What? Do I hear it calling? Wait, hold on. I think number
4? Before we go to 4, it is
yeah,
calling,
I think something
but
calling.
It's going to have to leave a voicemail real quick. Because I just want to say this real quick for the number 3 as cutting off negative attitudes. Think about it like this, right? Most of the times, people that speak negative are emotionally hurt and are going to go through a difficult time. And acknowledging this can determine how to manage people that are being negative. Like, remember, hurt people hurt people. So I wrote that down, and I just had to read it off real quick before we go to number 4, because a lot of times when people are being negative, they're hurt for some reason. Yes. And it's like, I pray for your healing. Like,
they're coming from a hurt place.
Yeah, so it's like, sometimes people don't like opening up, and that's what makes it at least a little bit harder for people to understand them, because they are scared to open up. So, hey, if anything, for most people, maybe you should open up and maybe see if that works. That's the only way people are going to know And if you can know for yourself how to heal, then do it. But you should not keep yourself in this place.
And as you can see, I'm opened up right now.
Oh, baby. So number 4, removing tolerance. Removing things that make you feel uncomfortable. Remember, like, tolerating things can drain your energy. Unfortunately, most of us deal with them daily, and then we don't address it. And which slowly brings someone to, like, a breaking point where, like, you know, I'm all the way to the brink, and I'm just gonna spill. And if anything, if I'm all the way at the top and haven't spilled yet, handle me with care. It's like, it's okay to be aware that, like, what you're going through is one thing, but, like, you can't just always rely on, like, going through this thing that you don't like and think that it's a form of being patient and etc. Like, when you're being patient about something, it's like you are comfortable. You're peacefully waiting. That's what patience is. You're peacefully waiting. Tolerating is when you're going through something that's stressing you out and you're just, like, taking your time with it.
You're aggressively hasting.
I love that. Yeah, exactly. It's like I always say personally, and hey, don't take this from me, but I mean, you know, I always say for myself, like, I have a lot of patience, but I have a little bit of tolerance. So that's how I'm thinking for that.
Yeah,
what do you think?
And I think, like, when it comes to removing tolerance, is like, when you remove the tolerances, you can focus on the things that give you joy.
Yes,
because it's like, or
we build up to what could build you joy. Because patience.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, like, you now grow. I wouldn't say your patience weakens or is lessened to some extent, but it's more so still in the act of your tolerance changing. It's going to continue fluctuating, because the thing is, in certain times, you may tolerate certain things just because, like, you could be analyzing and just like, you know what, I don't like this. But if you're discussing something with somebody, that says a lot. So now, next time, your patience willed you through that, but next time you're not gonna be so willing to tolerate that, and you say something, and hopefully you don't try to interject them and basically cut them off, and then go off your emotions and be like, I don't appreciate this. Like, nah, like, I'm done talking to you. Like, but positively be like, hey, excuse me, not for nothing. Like, I hear what you're saying. I respect that. You're capable of expressing that, but I personally don't resonate with that. And to some extent, that is a bit disrespectful towards me. Or you can say it in any other way, but just overall being able to express that. If you can talk like that to somebody, if you can.
If they can at least see you for what you're trying to say. Because sometimes, like, when you're, let's say, in a dispute, and, both people are being emotional to what's going on, because that's what tends to happen when you're in a dispute. If one person is trying to make their point and they're doing it very aggressively, and the other person, it feels like they're being attacked to what their point that they're making, then they're going to be like, whoa, like, why are you talking about me like that? So now they're going to feel defensive, because people all want to defend themselves. So now that this person is might be saying this, that other person is gonna be like, whoa, like, chill. Why are you talking to me in this way, as if, like, I do this, or this is who I am? Like, if anything, I think I know myself better, and that's necessarily what happens. But I think, at least far as the approach that you mentioned, that's a good way of at least trying to cut off to what it is that they're feeling attacked by, because no one really wants to sit there and hear the other person talk bad about them. So I completely agree.
Yeah, and, like, the one thing I want to chime in before you make your next point is, like, so from a lot of our sources that we happen to find, verywellmind.com, 103.5 Dawn FM. Very Well Mind said that your self-esteem impacts your decision-making process, your relationships, your emotional health, and your overall well-being. So people who have less, like, I'll put that burning soap for you. There you go. There you go. So, like, people with low self-esteem, to some extent, they are more likely to dwell in negativity, but also that means the likelihood of them not really removing tolerances, because they think they deserve it. They think that, if I could put up with this longer, then they have more false hope. They feed themselves more false hope. So,
or the
like,
idea.
Yeah, or the idea. So it's like, to continue feeding this placebo, like, of what you think you may be getting in the future, like, maybe not be getting it now.
I love
but
placebo.
you're the placebo effect, like, it's actually, like, it does so much, and it really makes you think, like, so is stress really a thing? Like, when you think about it, if you look at stress in a negative way, is stress really a bad thing? Because if you're nervous, which people could look at it in a negative way, if you're nervous, you're anxious, you're stressed out, or anything like that, you know, you can see what's behind it, and you can be like, okay, now that you've acknowledged what's stressing you out, what's making you nervous, and all these other things that do that, what are you gonna do? Because you don't want to stay in that realm forever. You don't want to stay a nervous person. We're not nervous people, because if we were nervous people, we wouldn't be having these mics. We wouldn't be having these laptops. We wouldn't have these flannels to go with the shirts. All right, that's besides the point. But like overall, like you see what I'm saying? Like, like if we were nervous people, you know how much hesitation would go into our daily lives, and there's already enough hesitation as is, including procrastination. You know what I mean? So,
right though.
So with that being said, you know, continue working on your self-esteem, and it can continue getting better the more that you love yourself, the more that you put in the time to work on it. Because if you're gonna be playing video games and you're continuously leveling up this avatar in whatever game, God of War, Devil May Cry, Fortnite, Call of Duty, if you want to prestige yourself, so you can put in time for that, but you can't prestige your real life though. Yeah,
Yo,
I gotta stamp myself with these analogies, man.
Like, I think there's gonna be some other, like, I don't even know how to say it. Like, there's gonna be someone else that's gonna be like, but why are you comparing games with real life, dog? I'm like, it's an analogy. We're just saying, like, I understand you at least.
I appreciate that.
I think you said a great amount enough as far as tolerance, and just don't tolerate things. Be patient for things, because when you tolerate things that you don't feel comfortable in, you just dig yourself in a deeper hole. So that's about it. So we're gonna go to number 5, the very last one. Are you ready? It's like that thing that they be having.
Elevator music was over 30 seconds, bro. Like, yo, get to it.
Bro, I was feeling the vibe, bro. It was chill.
Yeah, it was like you had me pacing. I'm like, yo, wait, hold on, wasn't the beat drop gonna happen? Like, oh my god. Oh, okay.
Last one we talked about.
Sound
this
like
before.
my stomach. You just went.
Oh boy. Number 5, we talked about this.
Have we now?
Prevent toxic relationships.
Isn't there another phrase for that though?
Oh, yeah. Bad behavioral relationships. Toxic equals bad behavior. No, don't do that. Bad.
Yes.
So.
Are you talking to, like, are you trying to ridicule somebody? Like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Oh my God, you triggered me. Don't do that ever again.
Yeah, we already know. We've talked about this before, as especially like spotting some toxic signs, how to prevent being in one. So we're gonna kind of like just glaze through on like top like a donut. Like, the donut's already made, so we already talked about it. We're just gonna have a quick glaze about what we're gonna talk about.
A grazing glaze.
A grazing glaze.
Amazing Grace.
Lagoon. Not damn.
3 hours later.
And since it took so long, then I'm gonna get into the part that says if you find yourself in a unhealthy relationship, finding out when and how to let go might be a priority, not only for yourself but for them. Because remember, when you are stressed out, they are probably stressed out too. So if you're going through something, they're probably going through it too, because it takes 2, not 1. And one thing I've always say is that if you tried your best to make the relationship work and nothing works, then you might want to reevaluate yourself and see if the other person wants to make or find the solution to, build that relationship. And if that person doesn't want to do it, then that's where you might have to let go. Because one thing I always say is that a plane flies with 2 wings, not 1. You should not be responsible to what they're responsible for. It's 100 and 100. They should be 100% within themselves and what they should be doing in a relationship, and you should be doing the same. So make sure that you're doing your part. Make sure you do what you got to do, but they got to do their part as well. And, it's just not fair if they rely everything on you to fix everything, when at the end of the day, when it comes to arguments, especially because that is the reason why there is relationships that's hard letting go, because there's arguments and etc. and it's detrimental and blah, blah, blah. Is because you guys are not really seeing eye to eye.
And if anything, because arguing does happen, but it's also how you guys cooperate after, so you guys could do things better next time.
Yes.
But if anything, I would like to constructively disagree.
Oh.
Because if we can't see eye to eye in the moment, like, let's be constructive. Let's talk. Like, why do we disagree? Why can't we see eye to eye right now? Not like,
no,
you know
that's
what I mean?
no,
Like,
I agree. No, that's why I'm kind of trying to say, like, I'm not saying like you have to agree right then and there. Like, there's gonna be times where like you don't see eye to eye in the moment, or there's times where you don't see each other for what it is. But at least if you could, be more calm and collective and see what it is that could be having issue, is if you could find the solution though.
Yes.
If you could find the solution and then the other person wants to find the solution with you, then that's a good relationship. But otherwise,
in the same direction.
right? But if one person is only trying to find the solution and the other person isn't, and they just keep going blah, 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 then it's just like one person is trying to find the solution while the other person is still going on with what is bothering them or holding on to this grudge. So it's just like they gotta let go.
You gotta cool down, bro. You gotta.
A little hot with this flannel, and the heater is on over there.
If you're just trying to say,
hey Alexa,
if you're just trying to say you
turn
hot,
down a notch.
if you're just trying to say you hot, I agree.
Oh shit! You want my number? You already got it. It's cool. You got it already.
I got the time for you.
Yeah, you right here, right now. What's up? Nah, damn.
I'm trying to get to know you better.
Oh shit.
Foul play.
So I mean, like, what do you think about toxic relationships? Is there anything you want to say, Tyler? Because I think we kind of wrapped everything up as far as like ways of letting go.
I think, like, if I'm gonna say anything about toxic relationships, I think that it's as I said earlier, clinging onto this identity of what could be is extremely detrimental, and it's what's self-sabotage like, because when it comes to relationships, I think like we're raised and swayed into believing, like, if you're gonna make it work, like, oh, argument happens in relationships, so like, that's a part of it, so like, of course, like, we're gonna work out. But it's like, can it really work out if like all we do is argue? Like, when have we properly apologized to each other? When have we properly, like, sat down and be like, oh, let's reflect? And if anything, this is a good example, right? So a lot of times when we do argue, right, emotions are tempered, they're flared, everything is going crazy, and we can only get out so much information. But because our awareness, our sensitivity, all that is hindered, we have to think about, like, imagine recording an argument, and because we can't effectively say that we can remember exactly everything that happened in the argument, because whether it's false memory, whether it's memory based off emotion, so now, if anything, because it's that emotion and this is something that triggered you personally, what if you're just trying to benefit yourself and portray that this is how the argument went when it never initially did? And not saying that we lie naturally when it comes to trying to recover from after an argument, but if we were able to somewhat remember more than 80% of the argument, we'd probably be able to hopefully constructively see like where both sides went wrong and what we can do that's better, because relationships can work. It does require hard work.
Yes. And
you have to make the effort and put it in.
Yes.
But at the same time, though, arguing doesn't get anywhere if there's nothing constructive being done.
And if you're yelling at each other, I wouldn't suggest that. That's not going to do anything. And just seeing how the other person has, their attention. Like, everybody has an attention span as well. And that is one thing that is going to definitely matter. And if your tone is all over the place, they're not going to listen to you. If they feel like they're being disrespected, they're not going to listen to you. And if all they get is disrespect from you, it's going to be hard for them to want to respect you back. Like, what comes around goes around. So if you give disrespect, you're probably going to get disrespect. And it's not to say that's tick for tack behavior or anything like that, but it's just like that's what something goes in somebody's subconscious, because there's like they're in their emotions right now, so they're not really thinking with their thoughts right now. They're thinking with what they're feeling, and they're just going to be saying what they're feeling and how they felt and how you made them felt, and they're just going to keep going off with that, and they're not really going to think much. They're just going to keep going off of what they're feeling. So like maybe you should try to see what both sides are coming from, because there's three sides of a story. There's person's A's story, person B's story, and the actual truth. So at the end of the day, we will never know the truth. But if we can collectively come together and be like, all right, these are things that I don't like. These are things I don't like. And I understand what you don't like. Then we could come to an understanding. Like, we might not, necessarily like, oh, like, yeah, I completely agree with you about whatever it is, but you can still respect each other for it. Like, I don't agree, but you know what? I'm going to respect you for it because I love you. You make my eyes glisten,
twinkle.
And every time I see you, I just want to kiss you.
The fact that you had your eyes closed doing that, I could tell you were very passionate with that statement.
Well, hey, if anything, I was looking at you. Got it.
Okay.
But yeah, no. That is 5 things of ways of letting go. And again, I really appreciate for everyone that's been listening and everyone that's been with us on this journey. We got mics now. It's gonna be a lot more crisp, more better quality for you guys because it's kind of fun for us, but more importantly for you guys because it just matters for the kind of quality of how we speak and everything that we've been saying is just like we're gonna keep getting more knowledge to this and like bringing it to you guys. And if there's anything that resonated with you guys, just make sure that whatever platform that you're on, if it's listening to us or watching us, to follow us on. If it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Cast, Castbox. There's a whole bunch of platforms that we may be on. And just let us know what you think. Even if you want to share anything that we have. We also have clips on our Instagram. You can follow us on there.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm just really grateful. Like I can't really complain much more. I'm glad that you're here with me, Tyler, and I am loved and I am energized for this and I am focused so that I can bring all the knowledge in and share it with Tyler, but more importantly with you guys, because that is the most important part. Us being the Rally Cry podcast, we should just come together and unite. Because what?
Because there is no unity in the community if there is no unity.
Yes.
In order to make the community, we need to unify together.
Yes.
And just that's what we're doing. And that's why we're going to rally together and get this cry out. And regardless of how that sounds, I mean, a cry is just a form of expression. So, like, if we could really unite together and let's talk about the things that, like, that really need more attention, more acknowledgement, because a lot of times, like Angel said, the last one, we need to avoid, cut out bad behavior, toxic relationships. Yeah. Why should we be tolerating these things? We shouldn't tolerate anything that's negative. So, anything that's negative, like the season that we're in, we just need to let it
go. Absolutely. Y'all be easy. Y'all be breezy.
Y'all be breezy. You know how it is. 103.5 Down FM. Check me out.
Appreciate you guys.